Stop the War Coalition must take credit for bringing together all strands of the British public, of all faiths and of none, of all races, of all creeds, of all professions, bringing them together on this noble march. And a great friend who has never ever been absent, someone whom you will all know, respect and admire, the convener of Stop the War Coalition, Lindsay German.
Thank you very much for all of you for turning out today and showing that on the 10th anniversary we are still here, we are still fighting, we are still in Trafalgar Square, and we are going to continue to do so until every foreign troop has left Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya and everywhere else where they are. 10 years ago, when I spoke on this platform at our first demonstration, I said we are being given war without end in the name of democracy. And that is exactly what we have had. We haven't had less war over the last 10 years. We were told in November 2001 the Afghan war was over. 10 years on, it is at its bloodiest. When you listen to the politicians say everything is improving in Afghanistan, this is a huge lie. The last 2 years have been the most bloody in terms of deaths in the whole of those 10 years. The number of airstrikes is 3 times what it was last year. And when they talk about protecting civilians, they are not protecting civilians in Afghanistan. Tens of thousands have died, and tens of thousands more will continue to die unless we say enough is enough. We have to bring the troops home now. And when people say the Afghans aren't ready to run their own country, how many times have we heard that from British governments over the years? When they talk about people who aren't civilised enough, aren't used to democracy enough. We had this from Liam Fox, who told us last year they're not ready to be democratic, they're 13th century people. Well, if you want to talk about barbarism, barbarism is bombing people from 30,000 feet. Barbarism is what NATO is doing in Sirte today when they talk about protecting civilians, but they are killing the civilians they don't happen to like. And we should never believe these wars are humanitarian wars. They are about changing regimes to suit the West. They are about opening up countries for oil, for other resources. They are about strategic control of some of the poorest people in the world. How much better Afghanistan would be if it had had 10 years of the money spent on war had been spent on education and agriculture and development in that country. Instead of which they're condemned to generations of war. And this connects to what's happened here in our country as well. Because we've had 10 years of worsening civil liberties. We've had 10 years of growing Islamophobia throughout Europe and throughout the world. And we've had 10 years of our governments borrowing money to pay for wars they can't afford. And now they turn around and say, we've got a deficit. Can you take wage cuts? Can you take welfare cuts? Can you have cuts in your education? Can we make students pay $9,000 a year to go to college? If they cut the wars, if they cut Trident, if they cut all of those things, we would have the money for a decent welfare state. We would have the money to feed and clothe people in this country. We would have the money for housing and education and all the other things that we need. So we are here today to say 10 years on, the Stop the War Coalition is still going strong. We want all of you to go back to your local areas, to your communities, to your trade union branches. Send the message very, very strong. Troops out of Afghanistan, NATO out of Libya. We want no more wars, and we are going to campaign until we force our government to change its policy. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Lindsay.